Hello. The subject we are introducing today is about the role of intellectual property in evaluating a business. We look at how IP adds value to shareholders and how it affects business and creative industries like the film and music industry. But let me start with a story that will help you to clarify fundamentally the importance of intellectual property. You must have heard of Cisco. It is one of the largest suppliers of IT equipment, known to most of us for their networking devices. However, you'll be surprised to know that none of the products that land in your hand have ever been touched by a Cisco employee. And why is that? Because what Cisco does is it outsources the entire production, packaging, delivery, logistics, everything relating to that, the planning for material, everything is done by outsourced contractors. They only do the designing, setting it up, testing it once, and then that's it. So the question is, in terms of the value addition for the product, probably the contractor does more work than what Cisco does on it. However, we still call it a Cisco product. That is actually the difference between building something, preparing something, producing something, and having the intellectual property rights for something. Yeah. We know that we would all prefer to be shareholders of Cisco rather than shareholders of the production company, simply because we know that Cisco has value because it has the intellectual property. Today, in the fiercely competitive market that we are in today, it's very normal that the innovation is the mainstay for all businesses who need to identify, focus, develop, protect, and leverage their opportunities based on their intellectual property. What are the various types of intellectual properties? Well, we have patents for inventions like we just discussed. You have copyrights for literary and artistic works. You have trademarks to make the product recognizable. Without that, advertising is impossible. For example, unless you see the Coca-Cola logo, you don't know what you are looking at. Yeah. There are also industrial designs relating to aesthetics like shape of a bottle, a pattern, a color, and lines, and how they put together. All this is also very important to create an identity for yourself. There are some others which may not be all that interesting for us. For example, there is something called geographical indications. Like you can't produce aerated wine somewhere else and call it champagne. It can only be produced in Champagne, the place in France. Similarly, you can produce Sholapur-like chaddars in Haryana, but it can't be called a Solapur chaddar. That is the importance of geographical invention. Then you have also trade secrets. For example, the well-protected secret formula of Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's distributed between 10-15 individuals. Nobody knows the whole picture. And only a very select group of people can put it all together. Yeah, nobody knows what it is. What is the use of intellectual property? Because that is what actually makes the company valuable. Yeah. Imagine that any competitor of yours can duplicate all your machines, the production pans, everything they can do, but they cannot get access to what your brain stores, and that is your intellectual property. Yeah. So why do we need to put that in the valuation? Because without that, it will be difficult to get funding. It is useful for franchising. It is for licensing, to complying with financial reporting regulations. Yeah. And you can also prevent competitors from entering into the market. And for mergers and acquisitions, you can think in terms of acquiring something or getting acquired. All this is possible only because of your intellectual property. There are many ways of evaluating this abstract thing called intellectual property. Uh, People say it should be based on costs, how much money you have spent in inventing something, and that is what I think a lot of regulations allow you to put into the balance sheet. But that's not the real. It does not reflect the real value of the invention, which is actually based on future income, and that's something which is always a matter of guesswork. So that is where experts are needed in order to put together a value for a particular invention, and it's not a very easy thing to do unless you have, for example, a similar transaction has taken place in the market. Then you can say, okay, this guy sold it for so and so $1 million, so mine would be somewhere in that range, plus or minus. So each has its challenges, and normally the experts are required to come up with a valuation. So that's the basics about intellectual property rights and the importance for shareholders. I will say that imagine if you don't have copyrights for the film or the book that you wrote, how easy it would be for somebody to replicate it and steal your intellectual property. So be aware of the value of what you're doing and take all possible care to protect it from theft. Thank you.